Welcome back, everyone, to the play-in stage where 12 teams have been weeded down to 8, and one best of 5 means the difference between going to Busan or going home. C9 is in the stadium, Gambit is there as well, both warming up as they will be going up against each other in our very first knockout best of 5 live from beautiful Lowell Park. We've got wonderful cosplay in the house once again. I believe that's a zombie Nunu. That's pretty scary.
I want to see it in game.
Yeah, nobody's
Nunu.
picking it. Maybe someone will pick it from beautiful Lowell Park today. Who knows? In any case, I'm Evie supporter, joined by my playing posse, Barento Raz Mohammed and Mark Zimmerman. Wow. Oh my God, please
Sorry.
say that again.
Just don't want to see that.
No. Hey, kids. Like, what the hell? Well, anyway, as we wrap up the playing stage and groups of planes, let's get a reminder of how the groups exactly played out. Now, when you look at this oversight, you may say, well, hey, all the first seeds are the teams you would have expected to grab that first seed. But Raz, the way we got there was not as straightforward.
Yeah, it was a rough ride for some of these Seed 1 teams. Cloud9, even though they came out 4-0, they had a rough one going up against Detonation Focus. Meanwhile, EDG and G2 had their battle scars.
Yeah.
It's definitely the best showing I think we've ever seen out of the play-in teams coming up from the emerging regions, really challenging every single Pool 1 team.
Yeah, as we just touched on it, there was a lot to absorb from the play-in groups. So for a recap of the biggest shockers and surprises, it is Andrew Vedia's day, also a surprise.
Thank you very much, Shox. Yes, we started off the play-in stage with a game fitting for Worlds as Detonation Focus Me challenged favorites Cloud9, backing them all the way to their Nexus. It was a pretty back-and-forth game, largely off the back of Evi and his fantastic Urgot performance. He was constantly locking down Blabber, securing a lot of great kills, but unfortunately, when it got down to the final couple of fights, things did not go the way in which Detonation Focus Me wanted. A great Frank from Licorice allowed Cloud9 to get the comeback, but they were pushed to the very brink before able being to secure that game. Now, this wasn't the only upset that we saw. This wasn't even an upset. Cloud9 still secured the win, but Turkey as a region is one that you can never afford to underestimate, as they showed in their first bout versus G2 Esports on day 2. My expectations were that G2 would be able to dominate Supermassive, but their bot lane came up huge. Zeitnot and Snowflower decimated the competition, and with their lead, they brought it to the rest of the map in what was an extremely clean, calculated, and efficient game from the Supermassive squad. They handled G2 their first loss on the play-in stage, but unfortunately could only clinch second seed as they struggled on the second day of play-ins. Now, in what was expected to be another stylish stomp for EDG, Infinity Esports delivered the biggest upset of the tournament so far. Everyone was expecting EDG to just come in and roll all over Infinity, but then after some fantastic team fighting from this Infinity squad, from their support and mid laner, we saw some beautiful magic happen. Captain Flowers went crazy after 2 quick team fights. They just ran it straight down mid lane, and they were able to secure a huge upset win and secure second seed in the group. And that's all from just the first week of Worlds. You can expect this to continue, maybe even today, as we send it back over to Shox and the old beans back on the desk.
What the hell are old beans? What
I think
does
you
that
said
mean?
beans, but
Is
I'm
that an
27, is that like...
Is that an insult?
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
We'll pick it up
Well,
again
what be called an old bean was a shocker, but what was the biggest shock for you guys?
I think it has to be EDG losing that game, just because it wasn't just that EDG lost, because like, okay, that can happen, but like the 7K gold lead that they had built, the fact that they were destroying them, and then to see those 2 team fights come out of nowhere was very surprising.
I'm just going to steal that one, exactly, because I remember Captain Flower said it best in game alongside Andrew Vedia's day, that, 500 Teemos away from the last time they did it up against SKT. EDG, finish your leads, finish the game. It had me crying.
Yeah, that's good advice for them if they end up in the group stage, which they probably will. Indeed, a lot of shockers, and I think in Worlds 2018 has had the most competitive play-in we've seen to date. And I also wanted to know from my analyst, if you needed to draft a squad with just the players from play-ins, but in this stage, what would your roster look like? And I believe Mark is up first. Show
All right,
me.
so here we go. Mostly picking from the Pool 1 teams. In the top lane, I want Wunder. He looked absolutely fantastic playing all those carry top laners. Empty is actually a very big part of this team because he can speak all the languages that he needs to be able to translate between the team. You got Scout in the mid lane, who has absolutely been crushing. Sneaky down in the bot side on that Kai'Sa. I would like to see him on a couple of the picks. Draven is not one of them. And then Snowflower has been a beast. We could only pick from one player from each team, and he was the one person I had to grab from one of the Pool 2 teams, and he looks like the best support
I gotta say,
the whole tournament.
I'm liking your team. Has a bit of everything. Of course, Empty, the master communicator.
No, we're not the same, Raz.
Raz, you can't
This
be. Are
is
you
like
exactly
when you
the
walk
same?
outside the door and you notice the exact same wardrobe, but there is one difference.
Oh, my God.
I have Evie in the top lane, so I promise everyone at home, we tried to hide it. We did not know.
Maybe we shouldn't have hit
this
it.
was gonna come through.
No,
So,
but it means that you guys align on what the strengths are. So
Scout was an incredible mid laner, solo kills and all. Sneaky was just doing his job and team fights coming through. I know you had Wonder as the main point of difference in the top lane because he had it tough.
So
He was
then
doing damn well.
argue to me, Raz, why you picked Evie over Wonder.
For the same reasons, honestly. Both of them were Urgot players, and I felt like Evie, when it came down to the best of one versus C9, he was the primary reason why they were winning. I didn't actually see an Urgot hit that many ultimates in one game before. And while it was a give and take between Blabber just tanking it all and Evie being able to just hit it, I felt like Evie throughout the entire group stage was coming out on top.
Definitely agree that his ultimates were very impressive. I do have to say that Wonder's CSD that he was creating for himself in the top lane without getting very many resources was something that I was very surprised at. I mean, after having him destroy us at Rift Rivals, I was kind of ready for it. And it was good to see him putting the smack down on other teams.
Yeah, I like it. A lot of good players there. I was going to ask you guys if they went up against each other, but then it would only be the top lane difference that would matter.
Exactly.
So who knows?
I will say, though, learning multiple languages apparently can get you in any team out there. So Empty, inspiring people out there.
Also on the analyst desk.
Learn your languages.
Yeah, learn your languages, guys. It's always handy. Well, then, Mark, how many languages do you speak?
Do we count coding languages?
Sure.
'Cause I can speak a lot of programming languages.
Perfect, that's two. Anyway, we were fortunate enough to get 4 series this weekend. You heard it right. And today, Cloud9, they aim for a group spot as they face Gambit Esports in the first one. Then after that, LJL's Detonation Focus Me tries to do Focus Me. Yeah, that's true. I was surprised because I put the emphasis on Focus Me.
You thought you were talking about yourself?
It was really weird. I just had an outer body experience. Anyway, maybe they have an outer body experience. It will be necessary if they want to beat EDG. And then tomorrow we have G2 versus Infinity and G-Rex versus Supermassive. That means we have a possibility of the full way 10 games. Do we think it's going to go there today, guys?
No, not at all. I don't
No?
think it's going to happen.
I think we'll see a few surprises, maybe just coming out of one game. But remember, these are stark favorites coming out of C9 and EDG. So I already dipped in.
Don't
to
give
what
your
my
predictions
prediction-
away.
I'm just saying.
Well, since it's possibly 4 to 5 hours away, let's look ahead to that second match of the day. The team that surprised most people in playing groups was the representatives from Japan, Detonation Focus Me. So they were really phenomenal. They had never advanced in a stage at Worlds or in an international tournament for all of that, but the team really came together beautifully and made history for the LJL.
What surprised me the most was the younger player here, Evie, coming out and being the most emotional out of the squad. Beautifon and Saros have been with the team since the beginning, since its inception, so it feels the most for them. But you could see the emotion pouring out. from
He's
both of them.
extremely experienced.
Yes.
So.
And for me, not just the historical component, but how they actually looked in game was the most impressive part, because for so long the LGL has come in kind of hyped up. People wanted to see them do well, and for about 2 years in a row, they've always came out very flat in their play-in stages. So to have them actually do well in the games and get out, not just by beating some team that was kind of worse than them or whatever, was really what I wanted to see.
Yeah, they look very well-rounded, so we'll see how they do. This is, of course, a very, very difficult matchup for them. They face the LPL's EDG. Now, outside of that misstep over Infinity, Raz, they did dominate and came out the way we expected them to in that group.
Yeah, early game leads is what we got out of them. And that was the big takeaway. Even though they came out scarred, as we would have seen before in the past, EDG is a threatening team to deal with based off their 2 major carries, Scout and iBoy. Really dealing with you in laning phase, and then out of it, we saw constant assassination attempts, even the Akali being picked out of Scout. We didn't get to see too much of him during the regular season, but he comes out and said, hey, you have to respect it.
Yeah, both Clearlove and Haro getting some playing time as well. The upset did happen with Harrowin, but I do think he is the better jungler, and I expect we'll see a little bit more of him throughout this best of 5.
Is this the best team-fighting team in play-ins, or does another team give their run for them?
It's a weird question because I still feel like they're the team most likely to lose a team fight from ahead,
Yes.
but also still the best
Also
team.
still the best.
Yeah,
It's tricky, isn't
it's a
it?
weird weird decision.
They're definitely the team that's been tested the most in team fights in the LPL, so I think they'll come out with that as a strength, but we still need to see more team fights out of G-Rex. That's the team that I'm watching out for, a team that gets out of laning phase and gets challenged.
Agreed. Now, that series is coming up later in the day, but when we return, we will hear from players from C9 talking trash versus Gambit Esports, or the other way around. And we're going to turn things up with hot takes. I will also gather the win conditions for the first series of the day. And as we go, let's take a look at the MasterCard priceless moment where SKT mounted a ridiculous comeback versus EDG at Worlds 2017.
EDG and SKT, we said it at the start, the two titans of their own regions. And right now, EDG is looking to add one hell of a page to that history book. SKT still with 0 kills to their name. They lose their 6th turret, and it's EDG knocking on the top lane door.
They're saving the Drake for now. They got two already. Bang is hiding. He's coming. Bang looking to come in. Here comes your initiation. They're right through. Oh my God.
Victor Shockwave will find them all. And SKT, with a hell of a response, will take down 4.
They did it. They fought back from a 9,000 gold deficit and won a team fight against all expectations. SKT are the best team to ever play League of Legends, and that man has been there for all of it. I couldn't see a way back. The stats couldn't see a way back, but one team fight initiated by Wolf. Fang was able to clean it up, and from there, you see the resigned looks on EDG's faces. They've had one stolen from them.
Gambit, of course, tournament hopes hang very much in the balance here for both these teams.
Cloud9 is currently in first place, and if they win their next game over Kaboom, they lock that first place.
But it is such a scatter from Kaboom as Cloud9 finally picks up kill number 1. Riev's low, Ignite takes him down.
Nice. Nice. We got him. Nice. Nice job, guys.
Cloud9 standing strong as North America's 3rd seed. Sonic is cutting out of the way, but still actually the damage is there. Fix might be able to find his way out of there, but he's taking too much. Lonic grabbing so many shutdowns, and Kira, he just went straight and pushed Gambit onto the next stage of Worlds. EDG need this for the LPL region to continue their dominance. While Detonation Focus Me, they are trying to do what no LJL team has ever been able to do.
On a killing spree. Mako looking to turn it. The double dropping already. Ray off to the side. The triple for iBoy. Their Dire Wolves are forlorn as EDG takes first place.
Licorice and Zazel are pretty much in a bad spot. Steal a little too far away from the Baron. And it's going to be Zeros that's able to steal it.
2-man stun. Oh, still there! Steal! He actually stole it! Kaboom have to be thinking, how did we let it happen again?
Nice Detonation Focus Me taking 2nd seed in Group C.
We're back for Cloud9 versus Gambit Esports, which is starting up in about 13 minutes. Hopefully not a bad omen for Cloud9 or Gambit. We'll see. I love this video, by the way, the Japanese casters cheering. I'm never gonna be tired of that. This is just pure happiness.
So far, probably the moment of the tournament. Just the sheer elation that came out of them with winning and being able to advance out of the playing stage.
I agree. Very lovely
Follow
to
their
see.
story, and so it's just great to see that.
Yeah. Well, before we jump into that series and into more emotion, I did want to gauge your temperature for our first hot takes at Worlds. So let's see the first one. It is EDG was not the strongest team in play-ins. Discuss.
Okay, who got this one?
You started off. I'll follow up with what you said.
You're
Do you
the
agree?
LPL,
Do you agree with that hot
I
take?
disagree. Look, I know EDG comes out, they lose their games. We've seen it last year, we've seen it this year. Look, they're better than C9. I'm just gonna come out and say it. G2, they lose those random games, but they'll recover.
Well, one
bounce back.
question though. You know, how many times have they made it past quarterfinals at Worlds?
They're not there yet. That doesn't matter, all right? Here's the thing about EDG. They have a 10% chance to lose any game in the world, including anyone. Like you at home, put 5 bronze players together. There's a chance EDG just throws that game against them. It was up 10K. It doesn't matter.
The question is...
That doesn't make them bad.
The question is, would you rather have a team that looks as good on EDG in all the games, but could drop that game in a decider game in a best of 5, or would you rather have a Cloud9 who's struggled a bit with that Nation Focus Me, but were able to pull it back?
I would rather have EDG because they average 3,500 gold up at 15. I want the team that has like that one dummy mistake, but is never going to lose
Mark
3
sold
games.
out NA.
They're not going to lose 3 games in the best of 5.
I wouldn't mind a winner. I'll take C9.
Alrighty then. Well, next one. Gambit is feeling confident in their matchup today. They shared a fun fact on Twitter. They said, NA is the only major region we have 100% win rate against. They also shared this throwback picture from IEM Cologne 5 years ago. And while Diamond is back on the Rift, Edward is back on the Rift, and Sneaky also played in that game. So it's a bit of a throwback.
Yeah, but Father Time has definitely crept up on them, and they're not. I don't think they're the team they were back then.
They've got the Time Lord. If you're looking at him, maybe he's got that extra feature coming back from the past.
Well, they don't have
Gendrick can only go forward in time.
I don't know, man. I think he's got some new gadgets.
Sneaky's like the guy who's kept progressing, it seems like, though,
He's
from
a
5 years
vampire.
ago.
He hasn't aged at all. He's the same player.
That's super impressive, though. Well, despite coming in as the 2nd seed, Edward from Gambit Esports thinks there are some advantages to coming in to a match as the underdogs.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Gambit's Edward, who's about to take on Cloud9. And the last time, and actually the first time that you guys played against them was 5 years ago, where you picked up the win and beat them at IEM Cologne. So with all that history behind you, how confident are you coming into this rematch with incredibly high stakes?
I wouldn't say it's a rematch because it's completely 2 different teams. It was completely different, and last time it was kind of easy, even though the Cloud9 was way stronger, but now we're as well way weaker than before as a Gambit. So it's going to be an interesting match for sure.
And Cloud9 is probably one of the most well-known teams coming into play-ins, and we know they're incredibly strong, and they went undefeated in their group. So many people see them as the favorites coming into the match, but do you guys see yourselves as the underdogs?
I think I'm playing for LCL for 1.5 year already, or 2 years. Since we're a wildcard team, I see myself and my team as underdogs for 2 years already against any team. So I think it's a good mindset, so I'm completely fine with that.
Is this a match, or is this the Worlds where you guys can basically disprove that and prove yourselves as a team to be reckoned with?
Well, I think this is the best chance for us to actually prove that we're a good team, because last time at the Worlds we weren't ready at all. At MSI we did something. We kind of proved that we're one of the best wildcard teams with Supermassive. So this time we need to prove that we can actually beat good teams.
And for today's match, what do you think are really the biggest weaknesses of Cloud9 that you guys can take advantage of?
I think the fact that they're an NA team.
Excuse me?
NA, nothing more.
All right, well, I think that's it for us here. Edward, thank you so much, and best of luck to you. Back to the desk.
There's not really a rebuttal. We are, in fact, an NA team with C9. So you can't be like, no, we're not. We're better than...
Factual.
I love how,
you are correct.
Yeah, I love how Emily was like, excuse me. You know, she has to stay, like, unbiased. But if someone's throwing out shots, hey.
I thought he was going to go out with the real. I thought he was going to say the B word. He's going to say blabber. Is that what he's going with? No, he's saying NA. I was like, all right. Well,
all right. Well,
okay.
He says they have an advantage. Maybe it's against an A team, but Cloud9 do look stronger. And when it comes to Gambit's performance so far, it isn't quite the M5 level we saw a couple of years ago. He also says, I've now been the underdog for 2 years. Yeah, we're a bit hot and cold on Gambit, I think. It's really hard to think how they will come out here. They haven't looked too sharp up until now.
That's been my biggest issue for this squad. It's been who was the best player in the LCL historically is coming out with his weakest tournament, Kira.
Yeah.
Kira has not been looking good. He's actually been coming out with incredibly standard picks, so that lust that we saw from MSI is gone. He's not coming out with the Karthus, no Anivia.
He hasn't
even
written
have to ban
anyone
it
in his
anymore.
death note yet.
There we go.
No, and unfortunately, it's Logic who has to pick up most of that slack. And he's been very good, and Sneaky hasn't been lane dominant, so there's a potential there. But so much of bot lane is still kind of dictated by the supports, and Edward has been very, very hot and cold in this tournament. And so if Logic is to reach his full potential and kind of be the X factor that can maybe carry this series, he needs Edward to step up alongside.
Yeah, it seems like an uphill battle because they need both the individual performances and the group or the team performance to step up. I hope they have something up their sleeves because despite ending the week 4-0, Cloud9's, that seemed weird because I was going to go into something positive, but actually the road to the knockout stage for C9 wasn't that clean. I think they went 4-0, so in the end they did exactly what was expected of them. I think we keep hammering on those bumps in the road, Mark, because we just want them to be as well prepared as possible for the best of 5 in groups.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is kind of looking at C9 like they're supposed to be the second best North American team, and when they were in play-ins last year, they crushed changed it and really kind of solidified that idea. Here, not nearly as dominant as we saw last year, and we're super close to losing a game that I think everyone, including C9, honestly felt like Detonation Focus Me should have won.
And honestly, people are quick to forget the fact that they have a very young lineup coming into Worlds. And so for them, you know, taking a step forward in what is traversing weird waters for them. First game was messy. Second game, rough. But the fact that they were able to come back to the game plan and really back around these team fights where Sneaky, the veteran for the squad, was able to fire off in these team fights. One of the most impressive players for the team thus far between him and Licorice.
Yeah.
So I think they're still in a really good spot.
Yeah, they're still playing mostly around the rookies, and Reaper has always done a really good job of finding strategies that work for them. We're talking about the Hecarim that they ended up busting out for Licorice in the top lane, the Lissandra here, and I'm sure going into this best of 5, he's done a really good job of seeing what Gambit's playing and finding out picks to set up for his rookies so that they can actually go out there and perform their best. And he'll just give Sneaky Kaisa or whatever is kind of some power pick that they don't need to put too much thought into.
Yeah, we'll see what he comes up with going into this first best of 5 knockout. Reaper is hoping preparation indeed will clean up a lot of C9's play.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Coach Reaper of Cloud9. Now, when I spoke to you after Cloud9's last game, you said that you were a little unhappy with the team's performance, that it was a little lackluster. So were you able to channel that frustration into your practice for today?
Oh, yeah. We prepared a lot of things yesterday, and then most of them was success. So I hopefully today have a better result as a match and as a performance-wise. Yeah.
Now, without giving away any strategy or secrets, what would you say was the biggest improvement for the team? Maybe mentality or confidence?
I'd like to say both of them, mentality and confidence, and also skill level-wise, the players are improved fast as possible. So I have some hope today.
You guys have some hope. Well, Blabber did have a pretty good showing for his first time on the global stage here at Worlds, but what would the conditions really be for Svenskeren stepping in?
Blabber showed pretty good. Did he?
He's a rookie. Cut him some slack. Come on.
Yeah, he did. You guys can see Svenskeren today for sure at least one game because Sven need warm up for the group stage 2. So we're gonna use Blabber for the first few games, and then for sure last game it's gonna be Svenskeren.
Exciting. Well, what do you think about Gambit as a team as a whole? What are your thoughts coming into the match, and where do you think you guys are really going to come out ahead?
Gambit as a team, I think they're really strong. The wildcard team, as we are screamed a lot. I mean, not a lot, like a bit, but they are head resort against us. So it's kind of nervous, but I guess we are fine to go for it.
Well, Reaper, thank you, and I wish you the best of luck in that match. That's it for us here. Back to you.
Strategy?
Reaper, how confident are you that you're just like, yeah, Blabber will play, and then in the third game, if we're up 2-0, Sven's coming in, don't ban Kindred, don't ban Nocturne, Blabber's not going to be there, you don't need to worry.
I mean, he is extremely confident. He might as well just say, this is going to be our team comp for game 1 and 2, Gambit. We don't think you have any chance. Woo!
Yeah, that was surprising because usually he's relatively tight-lipped. So the fact that like he wasn't here to me is intentional in a sense, where he is intentionally saying what's going to happen because he is actually not that worried. Whereas in NA, you don't get this kind of stuff out of it.
All right. Well, in any case, we're only a couple of minutes away from Champ Select, so let me get the win conditions for the underdog, Gambit. Raz, how did they do it?
Very quick for me, it's going to be Empower Lodic. He's been the best performing member of the squad. You have to track Blabber for the games that he's going to play. Yeah. So you can get his early vision down because that's how C9 wants to get their action going. And also on top of that, deny the power picks top lane, Aatrox and Urgot, because that we know the Lissandra's going to show up when the Urgot's out there, so you can nullify the lane.
For me, I was going to say save the innovation, because I feel like what C9 can do to beat Gambit is a lot of what they've done in their gauntlet run in NA in the playoffs, as well as what we've seen thus far in the play-in stage, group stage, and I don't want them to reveal more strategies or experiment too much more. That was it. I think if they just go out there and play, Sneaky is going to power pick a couple of the strong champions, Varus, Kaisa, something like that, and then you'll be saving your counter picks for top and playing up through that mostly, and I think that's fine. You don't need to go with the Aurelia in the mid lane. Play the Galio, the Zillion, whatever supportive mages, Rise, don't branch out too much and save that for surprising people in the group stage, because it looks like if everything goes according to plan, they're going to Group B.
Yeah, exactly. That seems like the plan for C9, so let's take a look at our predictions if we share the same faith. I certainly do. I have voted Cloud9, and also with a 3-0 game score, a bit hard on Gambit, but I just think C9 doesn't cut above them.
I say, I think I'm the one that diverges a little bit. I have one game for Gambit. I'll give them one because they're a team that looks towards preparation so much that a draft will give it to them. So I think Gambit will come out, especially since Cloud9, it seems like they're looking past Gambit into the group stages. You have to still respect your opponent.
Well, I looked at which match is most likely to have an upset game, and I actually felt like the EDG Detonation Focus Me would be the one where DFM, with what we've seen from EDG, could drop one.
They already threw that one game.
Yeah,
throw and play. That happened in group. I actually had Gambit taking a game here as well.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, Raz, what do you mean? We both predicted one.
In EU, we call that the cop-out prediction, because you're not secure enough in the team that is dominant to do the whole thing, and you don't want to look like a fool.
Yeah, well, I think Gambit will actually do something interesting, one draft that will catch C9 by surprise. So I have confidence that Gambit.
And I hope we are completely wrong and we see 5 games for both sets. We'll see. The stage is set in any case and ready to go. Let's send it over to a couple of koalas, Pastry and Spawn.